Okay, listen to this carefully. While you're sitting there half listening and probably scrolling something else, your body is glowing, quietly, like a dying ember that never quite goes out. And here's the part that's going to bug you for the rest of the day. You cannot see it. You've never seen it. You will die never having seen it with your own eyes. But it's there. It's been there your whole life. And by the end of the next 20 minutes, I'm going to convince you with actual science, not the vibes and crystals kind that you are, and I mean this literally, a creature made of light. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, sure, buddy, and I bet my aura is purple. No, put the crystals down. This isn't that. This is a real, measurable, published in scientific journals, photographed in a lab phenomenon. And the reason nobody talks about it is honestly kind of insulting once you hear it. So stick with me, because I promise you the reason you can't see your own glow is somehow more ridiculous than the glow itself. Let's start with a confession. When I say your body glows, your brain immediately goes to one of two places. Place 1, body heat. You've seen the thermal camera footage, the glowing orange blob of a person walking through the dark, red where they're warm, blue where they're cold. And you're thinking, that's the glow, right? That's just heat. Nope, wrong glow. That's infrared. That's your body radiating warmth, the same way a hot stove or a warm rock does. Every object above absolute zero does that. That's not special. A brick does that. You are not a brick. Set the heat thing aside. We'll come back to why it matters that these are two completely different things, because that difference is where it gets weird. Place 2. You think I'm talking about fireflies, glowworms, those deep-sea anglerfish with the little lantern dangling off their heads in the pitch black. And okay, you're warmer now, because those creatures produce actual visible light from their actual bodies, and it's beautiful, and we call it bioluminescence. But here's the thing they've got that you don't. Fireflies have a dedicated light-making kit, a special molecule called luciferin, a special enzyme called luciferase, genuinely named after Lucifer, the light bringer, which is the most metal thing a biologist has ever done, and when those two mix with oxygen, the firefly lights up on command like a tiny living glow stick. It's a whole system. It's engineered. It's a feature. You don't have that. You've got no lantern, no luciferase, no little switch. And yet, and this is the twist, you glow anyway. Not because your body is trying to, but because it can't help it. Your glow isn't a feature. Your glow is a leak. Let me say that again, because I want it to sink in. The firefly glows on purpose. You glow by accident. Somewhere inside you, trillions of times a second, a process is spilling light into the darkness, and your body has absolutely no idea it's doing it. So, where's it coming from? Hold that question, frame it, put it on the wall, because to answer it, I have to take you inside a very dark room in Japan. Picture it, a laboratory. Pitch black, not lights off in your bedroom dark, but engineered darkness. A sealed chamber built to keep out every stray scrap of light in the universe. And in that chamber sits a camera, but not your phone camera, not even a fancy night vision camera. This is a photomultiplier, a device so absurdly, obsessively sensitive that it can detect a single photon. 1. A lone particle of light arriving all by itself. And into this room of perfect darkness and impossible cameras, researchers put a guy, shirtless, sitting still. Volunteers, actually, over the course of days. They pointed the camera at these people in the dark, and they waited. And the machines started counting light coming off the skin, coming off the chest, the arms, the cheeks. A slow, dim, flickering rain of individual photons drizzling off a human being who was just sitting there, doing nothing, producing light he could not see and did not know he was making. They photographed it. There are images. A ghostly, grainy outline of a human body rendered entirely in its own faint light. That's you. That's what you look like to a machine patient enough to notice. So now you're annoyed, because you're thinking, if a camera can see it, why can't I? My eyes see light. That's literally the one thing eyes do. And oh my friend, this is the insulting part I promised you. Your eyes are actually incredible. On a truly dark night, a healthy human eye can detect a candle flame from miles away. Your eyes can pick up a handful of photons. They're extraordinary instruments. The problem is not that your eyes are bad. The problem is that your glow is about 1,000 times too dim for them. 1,000. Your body's light is roughly 1,000 times fainter than the weakest thing your eyes can register. So you're walking around inside a sensor, 2 of them, in your skull that is genuinely world-class, and it still isn't good enough. You are the flashlight standing outside the window. You're broadcasting. Nobody at home can hear it. It's like being the quietest person at a party that's 1,000 times too loud, except the party is happening inside your own head, and the quiet person is your entire body. You are surrounded by your own light and blind to all of it. If that doesn't slightly ruin your afternoon, I don't think we can be friends. But okay, enough teasing. You've been so patient. Let's finally answer the question on the wall. Where does the light actually come from? And to get there, I need you to think about something you do every single second without a shred of gratitude. You breathe. You breathe in oxygen. And you've been told your whole life that oxygen is the good guy, the thing that keeps you alive, the reason we open the windows, the hero of the respiratory system. And that's true. But oxygen has a secret. And the secret is that oxygen is also a little bit of an arsonist. Deep inside your cells, in tiny power plants called mitochondria, you are, and I want you to really sit with this word, burning. Not metaphorically. You are slowly, carefully, controllably combusting the food you eat, using oxygen to make energy. You are a very slow, very wet fire. You've been on fire since before you were born. Congratulations. And here's the thing about any fire, even a slow biological one, it's messy. As your cells burn through their fuel, they throw off sparks. Not real sparks, the chemistry kind. These are called free radicals, or reactive oxygen species, and they're basically molecular hooligans, fragments of oxygen that are furious, unstable, and desperate to grab onto anything nearby. And when these little maniacs crash into the fats and proteins and other molecules floating around your cells, they set off a chemical reaction, a tiny, violent molecular collision. And when certain molecules get slammed in exactly the right way, they get bumped up into what's called an excited state, jittery, over-energized, holding more energy than they know what to do with. And a molecule holding too much energy has to get rid of it somehow. It has to calm down. And do you know how a molecule calms down? It spits out the extra energy as a single particle of light, a photon, released into the dark, times a countless, uncountable, blinding number every second, all over your body. So, let's put the whole picture together, because it's genuinely gorgeous once it clicks. You breathe in oxygen. Oxygen helps you burn your food for fuel. The burning throws off unstable molecular sparks. Those sparks smash into molecules and kick them into an excited state. The excited molecules dump their extra energy as light, and that light, faint, accidental, 1,000 times too dim to see drizzles out through your skin into the world. Your glow is the exhaust of the fire that keeps you alive. It is, quite literally, the smoke off your own flame. Except, instead of smoke, it's light. You are not glowing despite being alive. You are glowing because being alive is a controlled burn, and every flame gives off a little light. And I love this, because it means the glow isn't some spooky add-on. It's not a soul, it's not an aura, it's a receipt. It's the paper trail of your metabolism, printed in photons. Every time your body does the deeply unremarkable work of keeping you upright, it signs its name in light. Now here's where it gets personal, because this glow, it's not the same everywhere on you. It's not the same all the time. And once you learn the pattern, you're going to feel weirdly seen. When those researchers looked at the images, they noticed the face glows the brightest. Your cheeks, specifically, your face is out here lighting up like a low-budget lantern while your torso just sort of mumbles along in the dark. And nobody's completely certain why, but the leading suspects make a lot of sense. Your face gets a huge amount of blood flow, it's packed with active tissue, it's constantly exposed, and it may carry pigments in the skin that get involved in the chemistry. So the next time someone tells you your face is glowing, they're being nice. But they're also, technically, in the most literal photon counting sense, correct? You're welcome. Use that. And it gets better, because your glow keeps a schedule. It has a rhythm. The researchers tracked it across the day and found that human glow rises and falls on a cycle. It tends to run dimmer in the morning and brighter in the late afternoon, riding along with your body's internal clock and the ebb and flow of your metabolism. Think about what that means. You are not just glowing. You are glowing in a pattern that follows the time of day, like a tide, like breathing, like something alive keeping time with the turning of the planet. You have a brightness schedule. You're on a dimmer switch that runs on sunlight and sleep, and you never once agreed to it. And now I have to be the honest friend, not just the fun one. Because the internet loves to take a thing like this and sprint straight off a cliff with it. You may have heard people claim that these body photons are some secret language that your cells whisper to each. Other encoded flashes of light, a whole hidden internet running on glow. It's a romantic idea. Some serious researchers have genuinely explored whether these emissions carry any information at all. But I'm not going to sell you something the evidence hasn't paid for. As of now, that cells talking in light idea sits way out on the speculative edge, and most scientists treat it with a very raised eyebrow. So, I'm going to leave it exactly where it belongs, as a maybe. A fascinating, unproven, don't tattoo it on your arm yet maybe. Deal? Because here's the thing, the real, boring, provable version is already incredible enough, and it might actually be useful. Follow the logic with me. Your glow comes from that slow burn, and specifically from those free radicals, those reactive molecular sparks. And free radicals are tightly linked to something scientists call oxidative stress, which is basically the wear and tear rusting that happens inside your cells over time. It's tangled up with aging. It's tangled up with disease. So if your glow is partly a readout of that process, then your light might be telling a story about your health. In theory, a person's photon emission could shift when something inside the machinery starts going wrong. Imagine a future doctor who doesn't draw your blood or scan your body, they just sit you in a dark room. Let a patient camera count your light and read your health off your glow like text off a page. We are nowhere near that yet, but the door is not closed, and that's a wild door to leave open. Now, zoom out with me, because I want to leave you somewhere big. You are not special. And I mean that in the most beautiful possible way, because it's not just you that glows. It's the plant on your windowsill, straining quietly toward the light while giving off its own. It's your dog, dreaming on the floor, glowing through every twitch. It's the mold on old bread, the fish in the sea, the worms in the soil, the bacteria in a puddle. Life burns fuel. Burning makes light, so life glows. All of it. Every living thing on this planet is faintly, constantly luminous, an entire biosphere quietly shining in a darkness we're too limited to see. There is a whole planet of light out there, layered right on top of the one you can see, and your eyes are simply not invited to the show. And that reframes the whole thing, doesn't it? For your entire life, you've thought of the dark as the absence of light, the scary nothing, the place where the light isn't. But that was never true. The dark is full. It's crowded. It's dense with the glow of every living thing, including you, all of it drizzling out photon by photon into a night that only looks empty because your eyes gave up at 1,000. Times too dim. The darkness was never dark. You just weren't equipped to attend. So here's what I want you to do tonight. When you switch off the light and lie there in what you've always called blackness, I want you to remember, it isn't black. Not to a good enough camera, not to the truth. In that dark, your face is the brightest thing in the room, your cheeks quietly outshining your chest, your whole body drizzling out the soft light of the slow fire that has kept you alive since the day you began a fire. You never lit, that never stops, that spends its entire existence writing your name in a light you were never meant to read. You are glowing right now. You were glowing when you started this. You'll be glowing when you fall asleep tonight. You have been a small, warm, walking candle this whole time, and the only reason you feel ordinary, the only reason you feel unremarkable and unluminous and plain, is a technicality. A rounding error in your eyeballs. A factor of 1,000. Close the gap, and you'd see it. You'd see everyone lit up like slow lanterns, walking around a glowing world, pretending it's dark. And maybe that's the real secret here, not that your body glows, but that reality is almost always more astonishing than the tiny sliver of it we're built to notice. The universe didn't hide your light to be cruel. It just handed you eyes that weren't quite good enough, and trusted that one day you'd be curious enough to build the thing that could see it for you. Well, you just did. Sort of. You watched a video about it, which is close enough, and I'm proud of you. Now go be insufferable about it at dinner. Tell someone their face is glowing and mean it scientifically. And the next time the room goes dark, smile. Because you'll finally know the truth. The lights never actually went out. They just went quiet enough for you to shine.